Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Max's Man Cave, episode 61. And I'm here with another fantastic panel of these fine gentlemen. And behind the scenes, I always like to see when some of y'all dance a little bit. Josh has got this new move called, what was it? The volleyball? So I was setting the volleyball in the back. But no one can see me, so yeah.
I'm spiking it.
Spiking it? Yeah, setting it, and then spiking it. No one could see me except for my cat, who is now judging me. So which is great.
He's just like, Gideon's just like,
He's like, again.
Just wait till you sleep. Just wait.
Well, thank you guys again for being here tonight, and thank you, chat, for being patient. We're just doing some sound checks before the show, and we have some fun topics to cover. A couple different variety things. So not all Marvel, not all DC, not just comic books. It's going to be a couple different topics. But yeah, hail to everyone in the chat. We've got Lane Kramer, we've got Mark McGrath, who's down with the MVP. You know me, my man. We've got Vex Electronica. Hello, Vex. Hope you're doing well. And guys, if you can, and Vex, I don't know if, Josh, I think you may be a mod. If you guys can send, Vex has a GoFundMe, correct? Okay. Vex got nailed with a BS, I believe it was a bill. Is that what it was?
It was a fine.
Fine.
Sorry, the manic face was. I was like, "Yeah, let me go grab that link real quick." And then you're like, "Right, Josh?" I was like, "Oh shit." Yeah, she got slapped with a fine. It's like a $6,500 fine for coming back into her country of residency, Canada, without a vaccine after going to Florida to visit her husband. And she's in the process of trying to come to the U.S. Legally. And yeah, it's just, she's getting hit with one bullshit thing after another. So
yeah, so it's an absolute nightmare, especially because it's over the jab, and
Still?
yeah, it's ridiculous, man. It's pathetic,
Trudeau's a piece of shit.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Well, that's just common sense. Yeah.
Which I will be happy to let you know if you agree with me that Justin Trudeau is a piece of shit. Wait until you see one of the variant covers for Kneel Before Doomface.
Ooh. Uh-oh. Yes, thank you, Josh. You're a saint, and you're a gentleman and a scholar. So, and yes, when Josh is in the hizzy, I am in a tizzy. We all know this. I was this morning in the Warhammer Paint video chat room live stream. I was gushing over how much Josh is my favorite otter, but isn't he all our favorite otters in our hearts? So anyway, let's get to our first, speaking of Warhammer and the Paint stream. So I wanted to go over this really quickly because I know it's not something we tend to normally talk about over the Max's Man Cave, but I figured I would share it because this came out this week, and I nearly pissed myself. As you guys know, I'm a huge fan of statues. I'm a big statue collector, and now What a Workshop has teamed up with the Warhammer team to begin creating 1/6 scale limited edition statues. I will never financially recover from this.
GoFundMe's for Max incoming.
Yes, yeah. Begin to you guys will begin to see ridiculous amounts of money leave my pocket, and it's I just always think of that. Who was it? The Tiger King guy, Joe something.
Joe Tiger King. That's his name.
Yeah, sure. Joe Tiger King. And yeah, I think one of his famous lines is he's like, "I will never financially recover from this." And yeah, I mean, when you think about the fact that this piece is like $1,400, and that's without tax or shipping, and it's not even a 1/3 scale piece, which a lot of these tend to be from XM Studios or Sideshow. get a 1/3 scale piece, and it's normally not much, but a 1/6 scale piece, uh, to be $1,400, that's a lot of money. So
well, Max, as a YouTuber, as a professional YouTuber who is monetized and is building his channel, this is relevant to to what you do. So you're going to have to review it. It's going to be in your office as part of a display. You can deduct this from your taxes. It is a write-off. It is a business expense.
I sure hope that I can put this as a business expense, because that would be pretty incredible. Now, like when we go to LA Comic Con and when we go to conventions and travel, that I do write off as tax expense because they're business trips, right? You know, those are for networking purposes and stuff like that. So
we can do that. Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So I know that a lot of the people that tend to be on those, like on the Nerdrotic team and Geeks and Gamers teams, they can write those off as tax expenses. But,
True, you can write off your comic purchases. Because as a comic creator, you have to maintain obviously your knowledge of what's going on in the market. So so you can you deduct a certain amount of that off of your taxes. You're in the entertainment industry, so a lot of your entertainment and things like that is all relevant. So yeah, talk to your accountant.
Absolutely. Now.
Oh,
wow.
I think Vex and Crumby. I'm sorry if I got the name wrong, but it looks like your audio is a little iffy. Sorry, Aaron. Some more robot-y glitchy noises. So maybe
let me know if that helps at all. Anybody? Just let me know. No,
I think it's
not at all.
A little glitchy. Yeah.
Doesn't give a higher.
So this is my final show. I'm retiring from YouTube. Can't get the equipment right. I'll leave and come back, see if that helps.
Okay.
There is going to be no retiring. I need a co-host because I'm an idiot.
No, not at all. This stream is going great, by the way.
So Max, this statue, it looked like that was Henry Cavill's head. It looked like closely looked like it without the helmet on.
Oh, no. If I zoom in on the actual face, you'll be like, oh no, that's not Henry Cavill.
Oh yeah, no.
No.
Kind of.
No.
What? No. Are you high? No. This comes from the video
Superman
game.
Face.
Lieutenant.
That's not Superman right there. She was my world. You took her.
I don't know what Henry Cavill movies you're watching. Maybe the bootleg versions have like a really bad Henry Cavill face, but I mean, as much as I love Lieutenant Titus, he doesn't look like Henry Cavill, but he is. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go.
I was just gonna say he is part of the Space Marine like video game. So if you guys have either watched gameplay or heard about the Space Marine video game, this is where Lieutenant Titus comes from. At least he's most well known for his crusade in that game. But yeah, man, I mean, the amount of detail, the level of detail on this thing, I understand why they have it at such a high price point. The only thing because initially when this came up, I thought that this was going to sell out immediately. But I'm starting to realize that a lot of Warhammer fans, I don't necessarily think, A, either have the money for this, or B, are both Warhammer fans and statue collectors. I don't know how much of a crossover that is. So it's going to be really interesting to see who this is like for, right? Like it's definitely for guys like me who are both statue collectors and Warhammer fans, but I don't really know. But yeah, what did you guys think about this? Have you guys seen this? I know you guys probably saw it on my post and me jizzing about it, but yeah.
I saw you post about it, and I was like, you know what? I plan on getting Max a Christmas gift anyways. And then I went and I was like, fuck that noise. Like he's not giving any favors. $1,400? Yeah, no. Man. My mom doesn't even get $1,400 worth of gifts.
No.
He's an expensive date. Oh, crap, man.
I was gonna say, dude, if you, the fact that you even thought about getting this for me, like if this were an action figure, right? Aaron's got me a Space Marine action figure. But like, if you got me a $1,400 gift, I seriously, I don't think I would be able to. I would pay you back. I would literally just Venmo you $1,400 and be like, "Fuck you! No, you're not doing this. Like, that's not how this works." But Lane Kramer, I like this. He says, "I'd rather support Max GoFundMe for statues instead of Mag's bat to people teeth GoFundMe." Yeah,
It's the year of Mags, and you know what that means? That means another 4 to 5 GoFundMes for rent.
Just another 4 to 5. We're still not at 2024. We still have another few weeks, months.
That's true. There could be a few more in there.
Yeah, we could still get a few more. Why not? So yeah, there are a few things that I think it's like, Warhammer fans already tend to spend a lot of money on models, because the models are already so pricey and even the paints are very expensive. So I don't see them going for something like this in terms of price wise. And like I said, I don't really know if the guys who play the video game and play the hobby, the tabletop hobby, would probably go for a statue. I don't know if they're into statue collecting, but
if they have a spare $1,400, it's probably going into their army.
Yeah,
I would guess.
I was about to say they probably spend more money on the plastic crack, which is understandable, because you can lose. I could go into a Games Workshop and drop $1,400 in an hour. You know what I mean? Like, it's easy to spend that much money in that shop. But yeah, this is one of the most detailed and gorgeous things I've seen maybe in the past few years. The Green Lantern that I have is up there, but in terms of just detail and sculpt, I mean, I think this thing takes the cake. The only reason why it's exclusive, though, is because it does have head switch outs with LED lights, and then it also has weapon switch outs. So you can have a chainsword that's like, all bloody and gutsy, and then you can have the thunder hammer. So just some different switch outs. But yeah, this thing, I mean, I'm looking forward to what they present next. This is just the start of it. The next character that they're doing is Abaddon the Despoiler, and I cannot imagine how much this thing is going to go for. Because this is just the model that's like that big. If they're going with a 1/6 scale thing of this, my God, I'm going to need to take out a loan. And then their third
how
figure.
Many are they limited to?
1,300.
2,000? 1,300. Wow.
Yeah, only 1,300. So, which, like I said, surprisingly, not sold out yet. And then their third sculpture or statue that they will be releasing is Celestine of the Adeptus Sororitas, or the Sisters of Battle. So I think it's going to be a good mixture of kind of a lot of different factions for their first 3 releases. Of course, they got to do the Ultramarines first. That's probably their most popular. Abaddon, Chaos Space Marine, probably one of the most famous character models and probably some of the most famous characters in the game. And then Celestine, of course, of the Adeptus Sororitas. They probably wanted to get a female statue in there, and her sculpt is just beautiful. Like the wings, the gold, they could really make a beautiful statue with this. So I'm looking forward to it, man. But my gosh, I'm not going to have any money by 2025. That's it.
Gotta get more super chats. Start dancing in silkies more.
Come on, guys, send in more super chat now to feed my addiction.
Oh, dance for us, monkey.
Dance, monkey, dance. Yeah, with the tongs. We do have Woad Warrior coming in. Speaking of super chats, for 9 months. Thanks, dude. He says, if you like that, Max, Rogel Dorn is being released by Joy Toy. Looks really sharp. A bit more pocket change friendly. The Emperor protects. I did see that, Woad Warrior. Yeah, the Joy Toy figures, I like them a lot. They're beautiful. I just don't have any real... my collection would look kind of odd because it's mostly statues and larger figures, and the Joy Toys are, I think, 1/10. So
1/18.
maybe 1/18th. Yeah. Oh, even yeah. So it's like 4 to
Yeah, they're
6
like
inches?
they're Star Wars size. Yeah, like original
Yeah.
original Star Wars, original GI Joe. They're that big. They're really detailed and they're really nice. We opted not to carry them specifically because they were expensive, but that wasn't really the deterrent. The deterrent was they had so many and they all came out in the same month. So it was like to order
Oh.
a decent quantity of that first wave would have been like $23,000 just in like
Oh my
just
God.
spent just on Warhammer product in the month, and it was like, yeah, no, can't do that.
Those things are stupid expensive. Because
Glue 'em
you
to the
know,
dash of your car.
oh my God, no. I was gonna say, like, if you buy one of those things, it's like $60 for one of those little figures or something. It's a lot of money.
Oh,
So,
jeez.
Yeah.
yeah, and we're talking something
And
that's
for a
like
1/18th, yeah, for a 1/18th scale, like, you know, it's
that's
it's
nuts.
unbelievable.
Yeah. We do have also Lane Kramer for $5. Hey, that's $5 into the bucket for Lieutenant Titus. No, I'm kidding.
Ooh.
He says, "Hey, to Aaron, I still remember your dig at my spelling. I will strike back for Kang this Tuesday. Should be on with Yul Carter. Fantastic comic stream. Oh my gosh!
Oh,
That's
very
too
cool.
funny.
Yeah, no, it was because he had a typo in his in one of his
Oh, on the
messages on
aficionados.
aficionados.
That's right.
Yeah, it was just I was more trying to like throw Wes off.
Yeah.
If you see like whenever you log into like one of our videos and we're starting off, if you see me laughing like at the beginning of the video, it's because I've done something to mess with Wes right before we go on, and he's had to like try 3 times before he's actually gotten the stream right.
Oh, that is too funny. Yeah, I love getting those. I mean, Wes gets a ton of super chats, and I love the fact that you guys
They're all
get
from
to-
Lane.
Yeah, they really are. And I'm glad that you guys get to go through them so often because some of these guys got good questions. And speaking of good questions, Vex asks, "What is the best starting point for someone wanting to get into Warhammer?" By the way,
Vex. Vex,
yeah.
don't do it. Don't do it, Vex.
Do it, Vex. Do it. Join me. Yeah. So for me, I would recommend. I think just as a good starting point, so that you don't have to spend any money. Start watching some videos on YouTube. Start reading some articles online and some lore. You know, some like stories and stuff online that you can read. I would start with that first. Oh, go ahead.
Max, do you know of any good channels that focus on Warhammer specifically?
Well, I would say Luton09, Leutin, Luton09, Major Kill, Arch Warhammer. Who else?
Max, you're fucking failing this assignment. Like
I'm not. I can't say it yet. I'm not gonna say it yet. Not yet. I'm gonna wait.
In the future, there will be wonderful videos on Max's new channel, which focuses on Warhammer.
Maybe.
I love that I set you up to be like, well, I'm starting a channel that's going to focus on this. You're like, oh, actually, let me talk about this channel. I'm like, no.
The channel is called Max's Throbbing Thunderhammer, and
yes, and it. Well, that's my OnlyFans account. So it gives me no, Josh, actually, I haven't released that yet. So I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait till I have a good base of videos until
what do you mean you haven't released it yet? I subscribed.
Well, yeah, because I haven't told anyone yet. Like I haven't told my main core audience base. I sent it out to the members because the members get first like dibs. So the members, if you guys saw, I released a video to you guys about the channel. But I want to build it up and see if it's actually viable, to see if there's actually some like a fan base there, and then I'll kind of release it to Twitter and my main YouTube channel here to say, hey, if you guys want, go over here and support and subscribe and all that stuff. But yes, you guys can expect something in the future potentially. So,
I will subscribe, as does everyone I respect and admire.
oh well, thank you, thank you. But yes, to answer your question, Vex, start with YouTube because it's easy and it costs you $0. And if you like it, then you can start getting into the books. But I see a lot of people who go like hard in the paint and they start buying all the books and all the codexes and all the rule books and all this, this and that audio books. And then they read one of them and they're like, this is way too complex for me, or like, this is way too dark for me. I don't think I'm going to like it. And they've already paid for all this stuff. So lore videos, I think, are a great way of starting. And then I will give you your next assignment, which is the books. So, and then I can tell you which ones I would highly recommend. But we do have another super chat coming in with the Woad Warrior for $10. Thank you, sir. He says, Josh is not Alpha Legion. Not so sneaky. Yes, Alpha Legion and Alfarius, I believe, is there. I don't know too much about them, but they're kind of these spies that infiltrate the Imperium, and they almost kind of like gaslight people into believing these like lies and trying to like put on these spy operations. But I don't know. It's kind of interesting. Woad, you'd have to tell me more about it, but the Alpha Legion is not one that I'm super versed in. So, yes, Josh is the best cheerleader by far.
I will also say that it is a known fact that people tend to hear me before they see me. So, not being Alpha Legion, pretty spot on.
Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe we can have a running joke here then. But so I will. I'll move on to the next thing because I did want to just mention that real quick. And I will also say, if you guys are looking to get into 10th edition, like the actual game, the gameplay is very easy to pick up. I haven't actually played a tabletop game since 5th edition. And the introduction of 10th, I started a game yesterday for a combat patrol with my Black Templars. And we were rolling dice probably an hour or 2 hours into the initial like rules and getting set up and everything, which normally it'll take like a day before you can even put models on the table. But we were rolling dice and moving pieces way before I even expected to. So you can pick it up really easily, and it was a shit ton of fun. So 10th edition really is a great way to get into the hobby if you want to play the actual game, tabletop game. So
you would say that in a reverse of what's going on with Dungeons and Dragons, the Warhammer tabletop editions are actually making the game better, whereas Dungeons and Dragons just makes it worse with every iteration.
What did they do? What did they do to Dungeons and Dragons?
You can go to prom.
Oh, no. Is it like the Hellfire Gala?
That's basically what's happening. Is the comicization? The same things that are happening to the comic industry are happening to D&D. So now it's like, well, how I'm autistic and in a wheelchair in real life. How do I? Where are the rules that define how I play an autistic wheelchair bound warrior in Dungeons and Dragons? And they're like,
with Vitiligo.
Yeah. It's like, hey, I don't know if you know this, but the idea of fantasy role playing is to be someone else,
right? Not
to just recreate yourself.
Exactly. And plus, who wants to? Yeah, never mind. I was gonna say, yeah. The absurdity of that, it's like, oh, I could play a 9-foot tall space marine, or I could be wheelchair bound in my own game. It just like
now you have to, now that like the rule book says that you like if you're attacked by a mind flayer, one of their attacks, if it hits critical, is they pull your brain out of your head and consume it, so you are dead. Now you have to ask for if the player consents to that. If the player consents to taking damage, if the player consents to being killed in the game,
because it's too traumatic, right?
Yes, it's too it's too much.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry, but this is we were talking about this morning with Kara and myself and Kara's husband, and we were talking about how so many people now just say they have PTSD, and it's like, for the people who have actually been diagnosed with PTSD, like fucking ridiculous that sounds. So it's really difficult when people are just like, I have trauma, I have anxiety, I have depression, I have PTSD. It's like, so does everyone fucking else, right? And I hate to be that guy who's like super insensitive, but I'm getting really sick of the faking of, you know, fake disabilities to get sympathy points.
Yeah, the
People,
self-diagnosis, you know, like you haven't actually seen a medical professional. You know,
right,
you've just decided.
Actually have these issues. Yeah, you want to put it in your Twitter bio because it's fashionable. And it's like, no, you can't do
but
that.
like Max, like I got like real PTSD, okay, because like nothing went the way that I thought it was going to.
That's called life. Get a crash helmet.
Josh, you don't understand. This white guy, this cis het white guy, called me by my dead name, and I freaked the fuck out.
I'm just getting a lot of anxiety right now because there's like a lot of white man going on.
Men here, and I'm just like, I just can't.
Guys, I was really, really excited for the Marvels to break $1 billion, and it doesn't look like that's going to happen. And now I have PTSD, and I can't even, you know, it's my job to write about entertainment, but I can't even write about it now because I'm just so bummed out that the Marvels is going to go down as the biggest money loser in MCU history.
And then you go, oh wait, have you watched it? And they go, oh no, but I mean,
also,
oh yeah.
Who cares?
No, but silver lining, it's breaking records.
It is such a record-breaking film. You know, it has broken so many records. Probably, you know, we may end up having this being the biggest record-breaking film of all time for the MCU. It may break more records than any other movie they've put out before.
Which is a fantastic segue for us to get into some of those records that are breaking. It says in this article from Dark Horizons that Marvel's box office drop breaks record. And I was like, oh, interesting. So it's breaking records in the wrong direction.
Let me break it down for you. Worst MCU opening of all time, broke that record. Broke the record for the worst Monday, the worst Tuesday, the worst Wednesday, the worst Friday, the worst Thursday, and the biggest drop, I believe, not only of the MCU, but of any superhero film, which means that it has a larger second week drop than films like Morbius, films like Elektra with Jennifer Garner. It's got a worse drop than that. Halle Berry's Catwoman had a better hold in its second week.
So I hate to do this because Drew just had to bounce, or I think maybe his internet cut out. But Drew actually put together a list of movies that did better than Captain Marvel in their second weekend, I think he said. And I'm just going to rapid fire this, okay? Hulk, Incredible Hulk, Daredevil, Elektra, Ghost Rider, Spirit of Vengeance, Blade 3, Spider-Man 3, X-Men Origins Wolverine, The Wolverine, X-Men Apocalypse, X-Men Dark Phoenix, New Mutants, Superman Returns, The Flash, Justice League, Harley Quinn, something, Suicide Squad, The Green Hornet, Thor: The Dark World, Thor: Love and Thunder, Iron Man 3, Black Widow, Blue Beetle, Bloodshot, Morbius, Four Stick, Fantastic Four, Rise of the Silver Surfer, Jonah Hex, John Carter, Mars, The Lone Ranger, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, Black Adam, Shazam! Fury of the Gods, Venom, Venom 2, Green Lantern, Ant-Man, Quantumania, The Eternals, and Power Rangers.
Sir, it is Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn, okay? Get it right.
Jeez.
You bigot. Jeez.
Is that really the title?
That was really the title.
Yeah. And then like 2 weeks into the release, they actually changed it to Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey.
They actually sent out placards to the theaters. The placards at the theaters changed. You know, those little ones they have up in the they changed those to Harley Quinn, and it didn't help.
But here's the thing. This is what's crazy about that. That film, I believe, was at the early first quarter 2020. So the fact that it had a better hold and did better than the Marvels is really sad.
Yeah, as COVID was becoming the big scare, like that, it had a better hold than the Marvels.
And not just that Bloodshot did better, which came out like right before the shutdown.
Yeah,
Vin Diesel, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm Bloodshot. I am so surprised too, because initially I think we might have talked about this last week, and I was like, "Oh yeah, it's going to have a pretty bad initial opening box office, but I don't think there's going to be a large second weekend drop off because it's already not going to have a lot of ticket sales, right?" But sure enough, I was completely wrong because there's a 78% drop off.
Never underestimate the power of intersectional feminism.
I guess not, man. And the wild thing is, like, I would say that probably Captain Marvel has more of that intersectionality within it, like as opposed to this film. This is just a bad movie, like from all intents and purposes. Like, I'm not trying to give it the benefit of the doubt. I'm just saying, like, all things said and done, like, I truly think that people are just sick of this stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then even when you look at the demographic here, this is from Deadline. This was the most shocking thing. 65% male leaning went to go see this movie. Bought tickets. Not like, oh, I streamed it from home or I pirated it. Bought tickets to go to the theater and support it. And I think it was 45% of that 65% were over the age of 25. And then women were the other percentage of that. But I think it was only the women who were under 25 were only 14% of the female demographic. So this whole Marvel Disney thing trying to accommodate to the Zoomer like audience, which is like what, 16 to 21, 22, none of them showed up. Only 14% of that population of women showed up to this thing. I mean, did you guys know that? Do you guys see anything that's interesting about that, or am I just like?
Well, I think 60%. It says 65% of the audience was male, but I think that 60% of the audience was YouTubers going to review it. So I think those are the only men that really went. Your Garys, your critical drinkers. They were a big part of that that box office windfall. And the best part is this comes right after that Jesse Gender account talking about how women kept our fandoms alive when they were dormant, and we can't even be bothered to go see. God. Men can't even be bothered to go see a movie because it's got 3 female leads, 2 women of color, and then it comes back that we were 65% of the audience. So shut up. We're keeping your stupid fandom alive.
We're the only ones who've been keeping this shit alive. Same thing with the speculators and variant cover collectors. They're keeping the comic book market or comic book industry afloat, for better or for worse. Same thing with the guys who keep shilling for Disney Marvel. They keep seeing these movies, and just to go and say the thing I hate the most. I don't know if you guys see this a lot as well, but I see a lot of these YouTube channels and just a lot of fans, quote unquote fans, that will go on Twitter afterwards and they'll go, it was okay, but still, like, 8 out of 10, it wasn't the best Marvel film in the world, but it was all right. And I'm just like, you are so afraid to criticize this film, even though you didn't enjoy it, but you're so afraid of what people will think of you. It's pathetic.
There's a lot of things that you can say about this movie. The fact that it was, it's like, hey, not every bit of failure of this movie, the failure isn't completely female like it is with Star Wars. There's a lot of factors that go into this. Number one, a lead that not many people like, 2 other leads that nobody knows, a script that was scrambled and reshot and reconfigured and reshot and reconfigured to the point that it is completely nonsensical. And, things happen in this movie that, like, you get introduced to concepts that never pan out, that never get picked up on because they were probably in some version that got cut. And this thing was just cobbled together in the editing room, cut down to 90 minutes and crapped out into theaters because they knew they had a stinker on their hands. Because the Marvel method, since Joss Whedon left, since the Russo brothers left, since James Gunn left, since all the talent left, it's just all been in Kevin Feige's hand. And remember, his genius is that he can cobble something together in the editing room from all the crap that is shot, when that's not how movies are supposed to be made. You're supposed to have an outline. You're supposed to have a script. You're supposed to shoot what you have planned out. You don't just shoot a bunch of shit and then sift through it afterwards and go, okay, what can we cobble together out of this? And that's how it feels like this film has been put together. And the way that it's been received, it's also coming after a series of Marvel flops that were, led by men. You had Thor, Love and Thunder. Obviously, I don't think it was written and directed by a man, but it starred a man. Quantum Mania, also probably not written or directed by men, but it starred a man in the lead. So it's just a cascading failure of the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the Marvel method in producing phases 4 and 5. Of course, this was the inevitable result. People are checked out.
Yeah. I was going to say the only thing that the demographics are kind of surprised me about is if I were at Marvel and I saw the final of what this film actually is, I would have been like marketing so hard for like young girls and families. Like, hey, parents, bring your kids for them, because if they would have done that, it would have at least made sense to a degree of, oh, okay, so that's what you were going for. Even though that's not what they were going for,
Well, you can't do that though, Josh, because remember what Alan got in trouble for when we went over that? When Alan said this is not a film for comic book fans. It feels like it's a film that's geared more towards little girls, essentially. Like it's a Disney show for girls. And people just like lambasted it. Like people
because little girls have never been fans of comic books. It's like, well, not in enough numbers to make a $300 million+ movie successful.
Yeah, sorry. Like I don't know. It seems the demo seems accurate, right? Like I this tracks for me. But at the same time, I don't know why Disney Marvel or their marketing department isn't recognizing this and saying, yeah, let's target this audience, because we know that men who are in their 30s to 50s have disposable income that they want to spend on collectibles, comic books, movies, all kinds of this stuff. And I don't see why they're not trying to engage with that audience, because men are bad, right? Or men are evil.
Correct.
Especially, men in that demographic. So I also thought it was interesting because it said that the diversity demos were 36% Caucasian, 27% Latino and Hispanic, 17% Black, and 14% Asian. So like, even with all this kind of, it's got women, it's got diversity, it's got different blah, 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 whatever they continue to try and like preach about these films. The quotas, just the people who are going to see these films are not the ones who they're trying to market to. And I see this disconnect continually, time and time again.
At what point do we understand that diversity is not a selling point? It's not a selling point in any real metric. It's fine. It's nice. It's, it's good to have representation in your films. It's good to have, a variety of different characters and different backgrounds. That can lead to some interesting storytelling. The problem is there's no interesting storytelling. It's just like, look, the first gay kiss. No one cares. No one goes and spends $15 for that. Well, I gotta go spend $15 on the first gay kiss in the Marvel Universe. It's like, what's the story? Who's the villain? How does this fit into the larger picture? What make me care? Like, the pandering 15 seconds of, I don't know, what was the kiss in the Turtles? Like 3 seconds? Like, is that worth your $15?
Right. For them to go,
stunning and brave.
Stunning and brave. Because I have a lot of individuals and classmates that would say, the whole diversity is our strength, and diversity, like if I were to say diversity is not a selling point for a film, they'd probably respond back, well, that's not true, because diversity means that people can see themselves, right? And that we can see ourselves in these characters, and it accurately represents like the blah, blah, blah. And it's like, that's fine. Like, diversity and representation is fine within these films. And of course we want people to resonate with these characters, but it isn't a selling point in terms of, at least from what I believe, it's not a selling point in terms of, just like what we saw with Tim Sheridan's book. Why should we buy your book? Because gay? I'm sorry, that doesn't, it's not going to appeal to everyone. Just because gay, or just because black, or just because insert thing here, doesn't mean that it's inherently going to be a good film or a good story, right?
You mean to tell me it's not in the top 50 comics of the month?
You mean to tell me it's not even within the top 200 comics of the month? What? Yeah, what did it land at, Drew? Do you remember what it said?
Well below that. Not even close.
Yeah, not even close.
But there's a huge. I was assured that there was a huge audience for this, and that they were going to hand Comicsgate. They were going to hand Comicsgate a big L because somehow Comicsgate was trying to keep this book from being released. I guess with all their power within the big two.
Yeah.
And
we were just going to dunk on the chuds.
That huge audience was going to buy more than one copy. They're going to buy multiple copies to give to their friends. The reporting's got to be wrong. Like it's the reporting clearly.
It's clearly. And everybody I've run into on the street has been talking about the gay Green Lantern book. Right. They've just been so excited about it. Like people are just running up to me, there's complete strangers, and grabbing me and going, "Have you heard that Green Lantern is gay?" And I go, "Hal Jordan's gay?" And they go, "No, the other one, John Stewart."
Go, yeah. Which one are you
the numbers are being biased.
They don't even know what it is. Yeah. It is pretty funny because you can't even get people to do that for just regular comic books. Like, name the biggest event to come out in comics in the past 10 years, and I guarantee people aren't going around being like, "Can you believe that this happened in comic books?" And it's like, people still buy comics? Like, people still read comic books?
I tell people I work in comics, and the response is always, "They still make those?"
Yeah, no, 100%, man. 100%.
Like in the newspaper?
Yeah. You like do the funny Dilbert things? It's like no, actual comic.
Valiant?
No.
Yeah. Wow.
Lane Kramer for another $2. Thank you for the 2, Lane. He says, speaking of chairs, what happened to Davros in Doctor Who?
What?
Good question. I don't know anything about Doctor Who. That is like
I know everything.
Doctor Who.
I know everything about Doctor Who. I know that his name is Doctor Who. I know that he travels around with his whimsical companions, Margaret Thatcher and Hermione Granger. I know that there's a robot dog, and I know that he always pops up and he's like, "Hey, I'm Doctor Who. Look at me. I'm doing a dance." That's Doctor Who, right?
Yeah. And he's taught by Gandalf the White, right? There's like a magical wizard, and he's taught by I think.
Yeah, and he's got a sonic wrench that fixes things, and he uses it to fly his phone booth.
Oh, it was a Fox TV show back in the 90s. That's right. I think I was like one episode of that.
Yeah.
All kidding aside, Doctor Who is dead. Doctor Who is another murdered franchise. Throw it on the just throw it on the dustbin of history. It's over.
Yeah. And unless, and this is what Gary says, I've never even watched a single scene of Doctor Who, but from what he says, it's like, unless they erase the Timeless Children storyline, then they can maybe do something with it. But even when they brought back one of the original, or one of the prior Doctor Who's that a lot of people had fan interaction with and like loved him, there was still no hype. There was still zero hype for it. No one talked about it because they all got out,
Are you talking about David Tennant?
I think so. That sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah, the actor that played Scrooge McDuck in DuckTales 2017.
I knew he was coming back. I didn't realize that had already happened. But yeah.
Maybe it hasn't. Who knows? Who knows? Who cares? It's just like it's like people going like, "Hey, did you go see the Marvels?" And they're like, "Oh, no, what, that come out last year?" You're like, no, it's like out like a week ago. And they're like, "Oh, no."
You're like, there's a movie called the Marvel. Like, I know the Marvel movies. It's like, no, the Marvels. And they're like, it's got
Captain Marvel in it, and they're like, who's that?
Yeah.
And then you're like, remember she had the movie and the Just a Girl played when she had the fight scene, and then Thanos Falcon punched her out of the Endgame movie, and they're like, "Oh yeah, kinda." What's that been, like 6-10 years since that came out? And it's like, no, like 4 years ago, but nobody remembers.
Yeah.
How about that? Can we talk about literally anything else?
Yeah, right. Speaking of which, Capital Video says, if you're going to the theater, I recommend Thanksgiving. Now, we actually have a gentleman on the panel who saw Thanksgiving right before this stream. So, Drew, you want to give a little impromptu, spoiler-free review of Thanksgiving for our glorious watchers and listeners?
Yeah, so Thanksgiving is an actual. It was originally a spoof trailer in the film Grindhouse back in 2007, 2008, and Eli Roth finally got it made over 15 years later, and yeah. And all I'm gonna say is Kyle and I were there. We laughed our asses off. We were laughing. We were enjoying it, enjoying the just the over the top blood, gore, decapitations, limbs being lopped off, all the creative deaths, all the just how it's in the trailer. I'm not going to spoil this, but one of the things that leads to this maniac is there's a Black Friday crazy shenanigan that happens where people go crazy and they stampede into a store, and it's like, hey, you know what? I've seen situations like that before. I've seen stuff like that has happened, where people get stampeded, get killed, to get into a store or to a concert. It happens, but it goes that Eli Roth next step after that, which is great. I love it. But yeah, it's a very enjoyable film. The third act is the ending of it is it's okay, but everything before that is amazing. I laughed I laughed the whole time. You're gonna enjoy it. It's a great film. You're gonna have a lot of fun with it.
Wow. Okay. So it's very over the top then.
Absolutely. Okay. It is hysterical. Yes, I love it.
Any pancake scenes? Any kids doing karate?
No karate, no pancakes, but there's a lot of baking. There's a lot of baking in this. So yeah, maybe even a human gets baked. I'm not going to say who. But
how many now for real box office success and for that wide appeal? How many cats does it have in it? And how many cats are featured in the trailer? And how many live streams did they do featuring just cats before this movie came out?
Great question. Like where your head's at, there is one cat featured in this film. There's one cat. And yeah,
it's a bold choice.
Yeah, knowing Eli Roth, you probably stuck the cat in a microwave and then turned the microwave on.
No, I will. You'll be happy to know. I will spoil this. The cat survives. So.
Yay!
Kitties.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's because evil recognizes evil. So the
the cat's behind it all. The cat's just like he walks in to murder people, and the cat just gives him the what's up?
Shifty eye. Yeah.
That guy over there.
I will say, yeah, if I were to go watch the Marvels, anytime the cats or the Flurkins came on screen, I would be the idiot going like,
kitties. Yeah. I would do that. I would do that in the theater. Kitties, yay!
and speaking of numbers, so this opened tied at number 3 with the Marvels at 10 million. This tied the Marvels in the third spot for the weekend in the box office.
Oh, do that one more time. Sorry, I was.
It tied the Marvel's box office this weekend.
And in the number 3 spot, yeah, for 10 million.
Interesting.
And just wait, we're only working off estimates. What if it actually beats the Marvels?
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah, because the Marvels did come in lower than everybody was like, oh, it made 47 million, and then it was like, nope. Nope, did not. Now, what's weird is I had predicted, I don't know if it was on Wes's show, if it was on here, or maybe even Josh's channel, when we were talking about the Marvels, and I had said that I had thought it would make 45 million in its opening weekend. That's just kind of like where my head was at, and it made 46.1 opening weekend. So I came really close without going over. So by Price is Right rules, I've won the showcase.
Hey, look at that. I wish I had something for you, but
unfortunately, it's a copy of the Marvels. I was like, yay.
Oh, I didn't really want it, but well.
Max, you did give me the greatest gift of all, which is that video of that Marvel employee trying to hype up the first Captain Marvel.
That's very true. Yeah.
I still laugh about that.
For girls or boys.
Or boys.
What were you gonna say, Josh?
Oh shit! No. I was gonna say you could pull up Billy Madison and be like, "That's correct,"
and then do the little.
Oh my god! I haven't watched that movie in years, man. I think I was in high school last time I watched it.
That's the only reason why I know about the Spanish Armada in 1588. That's the only reason why I know that.
To this day, if I'm standing around with a friend and we're just like not talking, we're like waiting for a ride or something, we're like kind of bored, I'll turn to them and I'll go, "Hey, you want to feed that donkey some beer? Get it all messed up?" Just see if they understand the reference.
I'll always pull a big gulps, huh? Well, see you later. But that one's way more recognizable. Everyone knows that's from Dumb and Dumber. So, We have from Aaron Louvier. I like that last name. He says, "Did you guys see that David Finch has a sign up for an art book on Kickstarter? Maybe he'll crowdfund a comic one day." Aaron, I did not see this, but that sounds awesome, dude. I will back that in a heartbeat, especially if it's like a deluxe or an oversized art book or something. Like they have that one for Conan that's going on right now, and hell yeah, man, I love those art books. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, David Finch has made probably so much money with just his sketches and his original art alone. I don't think he probably needs to make another comic book for the rest of his life.
He's fine.
Yeah,
he gave Aaron Lopresti. I can't remember. No, you weren't there. You weren't there, Max. At San Diego, he gave Aaron Lopresti just a beautiful clay face that he did.
That's right. Yeah, I remember you telling me that. So, because he had owned Aaron a favor, and he's like, "Oh my god, I've remembered that I owe you a clay face," and he's like, "Don't worry about it." And then, sure enough, later on in the convention, he brought it over. So.
Yeah, just like this fully colored, just amazing piece.
Oh.
And Aaron was just staring at it for like forever, just like like you can't give me this. This is too good.
Oh, so
oh, you got it. Mine should be. Mine got bounced back because of an address problem, but it's on its way back to me, so I cannot wait. Wraith of God 2 and Garbage Man and Nightclub.
Oh, it's awesome. I enjoyed it a lot. This is worth every bang for your buck. And I texted Aaron. In my opinion, the best story is Garbage Man. I love the story in this for Garbage Man. It's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Is it kind of like Sludge, his old Sludge stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Nice.
I think it's kind of scratching that itch for him too. It's like he's not allowed to use Sludge because Marvel has that locked away. So
and Aaron, you'll notice there's a very other similar character from the Sludge comics in this chapter of Garbage Man. It's like
I've been tipped off a little bit about who it might be, so I'm excited about it.
Now, speaking of San Diego Comic-Con, because both Aarons were there and seeing David Finch and whatnot. This Saturday, open registration was happened for San Diego Comic-Con, and wouldn't you know it, all badges are sold out. Minute. I didn't even get close to getting one. So I mean, for those who are trying to go this year, good luck. But yeah, I mean, they didn't even last a day. So it's always
we'll get you down there, Max. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, they usually don't.
Yeah,
I was about to say they usually don't last today. They usually sell out real fast.
Right? Yeah, like minutes sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, they had this whole like queue system, and you like had to wait in queue from like 8 or 9 in the morning, and then once the queue opened up, then you could go in, and then you'd wait in another queue and it was just like, oh my god, what a nightmare. So.
Well, it's all the cosplayers that are going to go there with their wonderful creations and walk around and not spend any money with any vendors. And that's basically what the show is. It's two things now. It's a spectacle. Like it's worth going to see, just as a spectacle. But the majority of attendees are cosplayers and just people that are going to pick up exclusives to flip on eBay. Mm-hmm. So it's an eBay con.
Would you also say that there's a good amount of people that are just normies that just want to go, like you said, for the spectacle or for like movie news, for like exclusive access stuff?
I don't know how many normies actually get into the show anymore because you have to jump through all these hoops. You have to have you have to have a member account, and then you have to wait for to get the email for when they say that open registration is. And then you have to go on. You have to wait in a queue. You have to basically spend your whole morning trying to get tickets. With 8 laptops open and trying to get into queue. It's a nightmare. So I don't think that, and I think it's a problem because I think that the whole stated goal, which I don't believe is the real goal anymore, but the whole stated goal of Comic-Con was always bringing more people into comics and to the popular, but later became the popular arts as they wanted to go more Hollywood. But I don't think normies are getting in. I think I see the same people every year. The same, the only reason the floor layout was different this year is because so many companies pulled out because, a lot of big companies have realized it's not really profitable for them to go. It's a big expense and they don't see a return on it. Even Hollywood has kind of like noticed that. Is that you can go and you can have a high Paul H and everybody will be excited and cheer, but Scott Pilgrim still won't make its money at the box office.
Yeah. Well, especially when these creators have these little card tables that are like 4x4 card tables, and they're spending $4K a day, to have that rented out space. Sorry, I cut you off, Josh. What were you going to say?
I was gonna make a stupid joke. Just carry on.
Oh my god! Make it. You have to do it now.
Yeah, now you have to do it.
I was gonna say, look, I was gonna say that's why I pulled out too, because babies aren't profitable. But
Oh. You can make babies this way, right?
You just don't know where to sell them, Josh.
Oh no. Well, yeah, I thought I'd bring this up just because it's not really like news or anything, but it's just another opportunity for people to either sell these on the secondary, or I don't even know if they can sell them on the secondary, because once you get that badge, it's like in your name.
There's ways, but yeah, they try to nerf it as much as possible. But there's always, anytime you've got something exclusive like that, there's always ways.
Yeah.
And the one thing that I will point out about this, because we're talking about what SDCC has turned into, what I will say is you're starting to see smaller regional Comic-Cons become more popular and larger. Because I remember back in the day, even like Dallas Fan Expo was not what it is nowadays.
Sure.
Like you wouldn't get the talent that you have coming in now 10, 15, 20 years ago. It didn't happen.
And they're such better shows. San Diego used to be the greatest. But that started to go away. Like it used to be you could walk up day of and buy tickets. And that it hasn't been that way since the early 2000s. And unfortunately, it's it's like when I was working there in registration, we had those first couple of years we had like I remember we had a lady come and she was a grandma. She brought her grandson. She would bring him every year. And they would just come down and walk up and buy tickets. But it was like the first year that you had to like go and do it online and blah, blah, blah. And they were all sold out. So she showed up and wasn't able to buy tickets. Like they drove from Northern California. And so she got sent up to the problem desk where I was working. And she was telling me, like, she's like, I don't even care if I can't go in, like with him. I just, I drove him down there and I'd hate to disappoint him if there's any way. And while she was talking to me, I was like looking at her very concerned and everything, but I was just making her the badge and making him the badge.
That's cool.
And then, and then I was like, well, I mean, the show is sold out. Unfortunately, it is, so I guess you guys are just gonna have to go in and have a good time, and give them their badges and like didn't even charge them, just comped them because that was back when Comic-Con was run by people who weren't corporate a-holes. It was when they were run by actual human beings who were like, hey, you know what? Here's a stack of comps. When you go out into the city, you have really good service from a waitress, give her a comp. You have, your hotel staff takes care of you, give them a comp. You just happen to run into somebody who can't get into the show. Like the veterans used to be able to come up. Like one of the ships would come in, one of the naval ships would come in, and all the sailors that showed up would get comped because, hey, thank you for your service. And they'd get to go to the con for a day.
Well, dude, it's open promotion. I mean, it's just network. It's marketing. You're giving someone, hey, if you get a free day, come by. I mean, it can't hurt to give them a badge or a pass to have them come in and see something they like and buy it. Like, I don't know. I just feel like that's a great way to market your product.
The fact that the badges aren't transferable too, the fact that like, if you get a 4-day, it better be you or you're going to get in trouble if somebody else gets caught with your badge. Those badges should be transferable because you know what? If I'm going to lunch, I'm like, hey, I'm done at the con for the day, but I want to give my badge to my friend who doesn't have one and he's going to go in and spend money. That's better for the vendors. That's better for the con. It's more people in there spending more money, but they got theirs. They don't care about that. They don't care about their vendors.
Yeah.
So is this year going to be more like last year where there's going to be like a lot of these studios are out and it's going to be more focused on the exhibitors and the publishers on the show floor making money, or are they
one can hope
studios?
Yeah.
I would say fully expect studios to start bouncing back in. Because keep in mind the main reason they pulled out was the actor strike. It wasn't even like we feel like this isn't beneficial. Because even for the studios, even if it's not necessarily beneficial at the show itself, for major studios, there's so much conversation going on in media because of San Diego Comic-Con that a lot of them get their huge hits marketing wise coming out of the show.
Which is weird because it's like you're going and you're setting up all this competition. So it's like, you're competing with every other studio that goes as opposed to like doing your own thing. Like, DC tried to do Fandom for a while, which I think was, a pretty good idea in not necessarily an execution, but in concept.
In theory,
yeah. It's but it's weird. You go in there, San Diego, and there's all that noise, and then comic companies are trying to announce their new crossover, and nobody cares because everybody's just like, oh, Tom Hiddleston was at Hall H for 15 minutes.
And they probably can get it on YouTube before they even get it, before people even realize it at the actual show. So
Yeah, you'll be able to see him much better because it'll be like just a camera shot of him,
right.
as opposed to you being all the way at the back of Hall H, looking at that little guy on the stage and going, "It's like, is that Ant-Man? Who is that?"
Yeah, right. I will say though, Tom Hiddleston coming out in the Loki uniform and like being Loki for that Hall H performance, and he's like, bow to me and all this. I was just like, yo, this guy's got the charisma. He's got the Riz Lord. He's the Riz Lord. The people just absolutely love him. And what a fun opportunity to play that character live, like on stage, right?
I got to see him backstage as they were gearing him up, and it was pretty cool.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, it was just cool. I was like, oh, you look like you're gonna have some fun. He just very Loki, like he just went, oh yes, I was like, all right, that's cool.
Shaman didn't work for The Rock in the Black Adam garb.
Say again?
Shaman didn't work for The Rock when he was wearing the Black Adam garb.
Oh, that happened? He wore the Black Adam outfit?
Yeah.
The other but see, the problem with that was he wasn't introduced anywhere else. Like everybody had already met Loki at the point that he came out. So like there was already movies with him as Loki. And when Rock came out to promote it was like no one had seen it yet. And it was just like, oh, okay.
Who's this guy?
Yeah, because the year that he came out as Loki at San Diego Comic-Con was the Comic-Con right after Avengers. So you had Avengers 2012.
So
he did that in 2013.
The peak of Marvel. Holy
because the prior year was the announcement of Avengers. So that's when everybody came out. And I had gotten moved around. Like I was in Hall H, but they kept moving me because they were like, okay, well, we're going to sit you up here. We're going to sit you in the handicapped section because there's nobody there. So they sat me there. And then they were like, okay, well, we've got some people that are coming in that are going to need these seats. So we're going to move you here. And it's like I kept getting moved closer and closer. Wow. And finally they were just like, we're just going to put you in the press pit by the stage. Yeah. And I was like, all right. So Marie and I are standing in the press pit and she's watching like the Thor trailer that they're showing. And I just like casually looked over and right next to me, Robert Downey Jr. standing there because this is where the stairs are and then the curtain to go up. And Robert Downey Jr. is just standing there. And so like I kind of looked and I don't get starstruck, but I was just like, shit, and I got my eyes went all wide and I elbowed Marie and she like swats at my hand, like, stop it. And then I'm like, I'm like tapping her urgently. And she goes, I'm trying to watch this. Stop it. She's all mad. And I'm like, look at who's standing next to me. And she like turns and her eyes like get all wide. And Robert Downey Jr. looks over and he just goes, how you guys doing? And we're like, doing pretty good. Probably not as well as you're doing. Seems like you're probably here for something pretty exciting. And he's like, yeah. and then the thing ended. And then that's when Feige said, hey, we've got, you guys want to stick around. We've got one last thing to show you guys. And then Robert Downey Jr. said, well, he's like, that's me. And went back behind the curtain. And then that's when they did the whole Avengers announcement. So it was pretty cool.
Wow.
We were like right there.
Wow.
How fun, man. What a great opportunity. Now, when you saw him, was he anything like this clip?
Low IQ, high energy, jackrabbit, fucking wannabe, big time, small time, shit talking, bothersome, irritating bunch of motherfuckers I have ever had to endure for more than 5 minutes.
I love that clip of him, and Drew and Kyle and I always play that clip whenever we read something from Tom King.
Yeah.
Never gets old.
No, it tracks perfectly with his writing. So, but yeah,
I think Drew's read the new. I think Drew's read the new Wonder Woman too. Like, I think he's next week's Wonder Woman. So
I sent you guys pages. So yeah. So Max is a vet. You're gonna appreciate it, like I did.
Oh no. They already ruined she already killed veterans and military personnel in issue 2 because Tom King has a fetish of like being destroyed and America bad. And it's just, it's a nightmare.
Oh no, he has fun making just pretty much making them stupid, in this.
Yeah. Oh, well, that tracks. Every male in that book is a ignorant asshole. So yeah, that's fair.
What war crimes do you think Tom King committed that he's trying to atone for in his writing? He had to do some pretty awful stuff in his CIA career with as much guilt as he seems to be carrying around.
He burned too many documents. I don't know.
And instead of going to therapy to actually like flesh some of this stuff out, he's putting it in his books, and we're having to deal with it. So, Capital Video says Black Adam was pretty fun. Probably best DC movie this year. I mean, I did not feel that way, Capital. I know Lane liked Black Adam as well. The only thing I think of in Black Adam is that fucking, I know he's a child, but like he's still a bad actor, okay? So I hate to bag on the kid. But we did that cringe segment a couple months back where we did like, what was the cringiest, scene or like speech, riling speech. And it's this kid who's like, hey, everybody, we need to, come together and like defeat the bad guy. And I was like, this is the worst thing I've ever seen.
DDP. Yep.
the least inspiring, hey guys.
Hey,
I know you're digging
everyone.
your loved ones out of the rubble and everything.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
what if we all got together and we all like stood up
Remember
against
the thing.
calling for the diamond cutter?
And everyone's like, what? Kid, what the fuck are you saying? Like, get down from there.
Hey, I'm trying to dig my wife out of this rubble. I don't got time for whatever you're selling, kid. It looks like you want us to do the diamond cutter. I don't got time for that.
I don't have time for that, kid.
I like wrestling as much as the next guy, but my family's under this rubble.
And you could tell like the whole thing was 80 yard too. Like,
Yes.
like he probably said the speech on set and they were like, fuck, we can't hear him. Like we just can't. Like it's impossible. We'll just ADR it in post. And then he's in the sound booth, right? And they're like, all right, kid, this is your moment, right? This is your rousing speech. This is where we need to feel the emotion here, all right? And go. And he's like, hey guys, and they're like, fuck me, dude. We can't even hear him in the sound booth. And they're like, don't worry, the rock's in this. It's gonna make tons of money. Yeah, he'll make the money for us. Just we'll fix it in post, whatever. Yeah, too funny. We've also got Shield Wall of Dragons. Hail Shield Wall, what's up, brother? Great to see you. Kicking it overnight in Amarillo, Tejas, eh? Very nice, very nice. But yeah, no, I mean, I know that there are like all the other movies that came out from DC. I don't know. It's kind of like, oh, which pile of shit has the least amount of corn in it? Well,
is it more? Do you want more corn or less corn? Like which?
Yeah, right. Like what's the better option here? Right. So, speaking of shit with a ton of corn in it or less corn in it, this casting was just, I guess you could say, released / rumored. And I wanted to talk to you guys about it because, there were a lot of people that were like, oh, why is everyone like losing their shit over this? And I didn't see anyone losing their shit over this casting. I saw a lot of people that were tired, that were apathetic, and that were fucking tired. But Josh, I know that you're a big, I know that you like Pedro's work, line of work, and I do agree. I think he is a good actor. Like his skill is, I think, as an actor is good. But in terms of casting as the Fantastic Four, what were your initial thoughts when you first saw this?
So I want to rewind a second. Like he still hasn't even officially been cast. They've offered him the role, and they've offered like 30 other people the role, and all of them have turned it down. So I think like once
MCU is doing great.
Everything's fine.
Once again, we're getting the cart ahead of the wagon, and it's like, okay, people, just stop at this point. Stop talking about it. Like, just wait, just wait.
No, let's make it known right away how much we don't want him to do it.
I mean, it's kind of like everyone's reaction, when someone gets announced as, oh, it looks like we've got our Reed Richards, and like, okay, yeah, sure, 7 times now we've got the Reed Richards. Right. Look, Pedro is fine. I think he is oversaturated at this point. He's in too many things. I think this would be a bad idea to have him as Reed Richards. I don't think he fits as Reed. And again, I think it's kind of like one of those things where you see enough of an actor and you go, okay, like I'm good for a little while. We saw it happen with Jennifer Lawrence. People had their fill of her. She needed to take a breather. There's a period of time when you had that with Jake Gyllenhaal. He was in like anything and everything. Okay, thanks. I've seen enough. Just give us a breather. And I think Pedro's at that point. He's in so many things that have hit recently that just let's take a breather.
And he's just not Reed. And they've had plenty of problems lately with casting people that don't fit the role. At the beginning of the MCU, they were picking good actors, they were picking unknown actors, but like that came in and had good auditions, and they were like, oh, they can really grow into this role, and that's part of the reason that it's been so it was so successful for so long, and now they're just it's diversity checklist casting. It's there's the rumor that Kevin Feige walked in and looked at the potential cast list and was like, it's too white. Well, I don't know how to break this to you, but the Fantastic Four are all white.
Sorry.
And the fans recognize them as being all white. I mean, I guess Ben Grimm is Jewish. You got that, but
and there's and like there's nothing wrong with being white, with having a white family, Marvel's first family, as like your next tentpole film. Like there's nothing wrong
as long as you acknowledge your white privilege. Then you're all set.
Yeah, right. But guys, Pedro Pascal is the perfect choice to play Reed Richards in the Fantastic Four. He's reportedly the MCU's Reed Richards, and George Marston thinks that's fantastic. This is another one of those Games Radar posts that it's like one of the ones that's like the MCU is getting rid of male heroes. And that's a good thing, right? Like everything has to be, and that's a good thing.
And that's a good thing. Yeah. It's, the meme of Shawn Michaels, like pointing at that fan in the audience and then doing the juggling the balls and like doing that. That's George Marston's article here. He's like, please, Marvel, please, may I have another? please send me a cookie. I want to be invited to the next premiere. I want to meet Pedro. I want to meet Pedro so bad.
Or he just wants to interview Pedro. Yeah. Or like just talk to him. Right. And pitch him his next script, his next movie idea. Like, Pedro, can you read this script? It's about a monkey on a unicycle, and it's great. And it's like, what?
It's perfect for you. It's called the Jordan White story.
So yeah, for me personally, I hated this casting, and Aaron, I think you put it perfectly when you said, even and I know this hasn't been confirmed, but I'm just saying when I first saw this, these were my initial reactions. But I think you put it perfectly, Aaron, when you said Marvel keeps telling me that I don't need to spend my money on these movies anymore. When they do stuff like this, where it's like it's either oversaturating an actor or it's putting an actor in the role who looks nothing like the character, acts nothing like the character, doesn't have the same type of feel or emotional weight that we think that Reed Richards, because he's not Reed. And I know that that's what we keep saying, but he's just not. And I could eat my words. Maybe if they do end up casting him and he plays a great Reed Richards, I'll eat my words, and that's totally fine. But for now, I think, and to go to Shieldwald's comment, who should play Reed, I want a nobody. And I know that that's controversial. Yep. And I don't mean a nobody is like, oh, he's not talented. I mean a fucking, we don't know who he is. He hasn't been in a lot of mainstream things. I want him to have talent. I want him to have charisma, but I don't want him to have a mainstream, like large face, because look at like someone like Chris Hemsworth, who enveloped the role of Thor, which not a lot of people saw him before that. And I'm sure he had some great work before Thor, but he just fully encapsulated that character. So I would love to see a nobody, and it gives another actor an opportunity to play instead of recycling the same like 10 people in every film. And it's like, we get it. They've got hundreds of millions of dollars. Let's get some other actors and fresh talent in here to actually get them to play these fantastic roles, but no pun intended on the fantastic. Anyway.
Amen, Max. Preach. I think you're absolutely right. Give somebody else a chance. Go with an unknown. Go with somebody who can embody the character, who we will be able to see them as the character. I don't want to go into a Fantastic Four movie and the whole time I'm going like, well, there's the Mandalorian. There's Mr. Life can be good, but it could be better. It's like I'm already so familiar with him and all of his stupid roles that I'm tired of seeing his dumb face. He's like a talent. He's like a talented Sam Worthington at this point. I'm tired of him.
Yeah. Do any of y'all have anyone you would like to see, like specifically?
Pierce Brosnan, but back when he was in Mars Attacks.
I have an idea of someone that I think could do a really good job with it, but I think it's like an out of left field pick that would strangely work. And it's Glenn Howerton, who plays Dennis on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Oh my gosh,
I can see that.
Yeah,
I can see that.
And I could but I could also see him because we announced this. Well, we didn't announce it. We discussed it. But what's her name? That's playing Sue Storm from the
Vanessa Kirby.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I could see them balancing and playing off of each other very well because they both have a lightness to them, but they also have like a regal quality to them and a classic quality to them. So, but yeah, I would love to see Glenn Howerton, if only.
I'm down with that. I like it.
My only fear would that I would just think of him from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and every time I'd see his face, he'd be saying like, "Idiots, idiots, you're all just idiots," and I don't know if I would be able to picture him as Reed, but yes, he's got.
I am untethered, and my rage knows no bounds.
Dude, what do you got in the back of your car? It's fetish shit. I like fetish tools, and he's just like, what the fuck?
I just love the memes that we would get of Reed Richards going, because of the implication.
Yeah. So Sue Storm and we're gonna go out on this boat because of the implication. And then Ben is like, Are you gonna hurt her? No, I'm not gonna hurt her.
That's not what I'm saying at all. Well, because that's kind of what it sounds like.
Yeah, it sounds like you're gonna hurt these women.
And then once they got out there on the boat, Namor could show up.
Yeah, and then Namor
sure am excited to see him again.
If we do, I mean, he's got sexual assault allegations going on against him as well.
Oh my God.
It's almost like everybody in Hollywood might be a sleazy scumbag.
Weird.
Whoa.
It's
weird.
We need that. Weird. We need the recorder Avengers. Like, have you guys heard the?
No, yeah.
Yeah, but it's like all weird recorder. It's like, yeah, that would be really funny. Anytime we get one of these castings, I just hear that. Sorry, what's up, Josh?
No, I was gonna say, did y'all see when Twitter freaked out because of Grace Randolph's comments about Pedro?
No,
she said something along the lines. I laughed when I saw the clip, but people were like, "Oh, what a racist! Like, how is this woman still doing streams?" But she's like, "I mean, are you really thinking about this? I mean, you got Pedro, and then you got Namor. It's caramel and caramel. Like, does Sue not have any spice? Like, is that all? She just caramel and caramel? No difference. It's the same guy." People were like fucking losing it on Twitter. Like,
Twitter always loses it. That's funny. That's funny. Grace is not a racist.
No, not at all. She's dumb, but she's not a racist.
Yes.
What were people saying? Were they saying like, "Wow, how dare you call them caramel"? Like, what were they saying?
Oh no, they were blatantly being like, "I don't understand how someone this racist could still be." Hold on, I gotta try to find one of them.
Oh my
one of them was
God.
the page I follow that posted it.
That's
well, the person that put out that tweet could have just stopped at "I don't understand," and we would have just nodded along. It's like, yeah, you don't. You're stupid. You're a stupid Twitter person.
It is. It is very funny though that in her one of her recent videos for the Marvels, she goes, MCU is a very like misogynistic term, but there's no doubt that it's actually happening. And I was like, wait, what? You just admitted that it's going on, and yet you say that it's like an awful phrase. Like,
how is it misogynistic if it's accurate? Like, it's it's like, okay, so it's just a phrase coined to describe a phenomenon in shorthand. There's nothing particularly, what do you want Gary to say? You want him to say the feminization of the MCU? And you're like, well, at least that's not misogynist. You could still try to define that, as we've seen on social media. Like, you can redefine anything, and just stamp a label on it. And none of these words mean anything anymore because of it.
It is funny because, like, yes, like you said, you could maybe say, oh, well, someone maybe like, I don't know, who is it? He shows up on Mahler's stream and Drinker. He is Little Platoon. Little
Mhm.
Platoon.
Mm.
He's like a very scholarly individual, right? And he has these like really long, drawn out reviews of these films where he analyzes them like almost to an autistic level of detail.
Mhm.
And for him, maybe MCU doesn't fit his vernacular. Maybe something like the feminization of Marvel fits, right? But
Mhm.
for Gary fit like he coined the term MCU. Like it fits him, it fits his vibe, it fits his the tone of his show. It's fun, it's lighthearted, it's goofy, and you can't deny that it's not going on. They even mentioned it in that Marvel book that just came out. They termed it the MCU. So I think a lot of people get offended by it because they think it's inherently like this sexist, misogynistic term. But no, all it is trying to say is just that it's the feminization of not only male characters, but degrading and then casting out male characters in order to raise up female ones. It's not about money or profits. It's how the intention is being put upon for a lot of these characters in the franchise.
And it's no different than when long before the Captain Marvel movie came out and they started to do the her-o thing in the trailer.
Oh, no.
Grace Randolph had written a comic book for Marvel called Her-O's, featuring female characters.
Oh,
so
that's right. Yeah.
Mhm.
And it was
So,
atrocious.
you know.
It's about time.
So why when you singled out the fact that it's female focused in Her-O's, why is
Right.
that fine? But pointing out that the MCU has become female focused by calling it the MCU, that's misogynist.
And it's not even really like we're trying to, it's a grand conspiracy. Put your tinfoil hats on and the Illuminati are coming for you. Like Kevin Feige has openly said, like, I want more female characters to lead the Avengers team.
More than 50%. I want more than 50% of the heroes in our universe to be women.
Yep. And it's like, sure, that's great if you write them well. And like, even if you do more than 50% of female characters, it's still going to be tough to keep your core male audience, because even females, like you look at someone like Baggage Claim, who does these great video essays on the industry and stuff and culture in general. And even she is like, we as women are fucking tired of this shit because it's condescending, it's patronizing, it's all this shit. We don't want it. Right. So I think her videos stick out to a lot of female fans because they kind of feel the same way.
Yeah, and you see it even with the actresses. Like, how many actresses have come out and said, like, as soon as I see strong female character in the description, I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, Emily Blunt, she said that. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. We have a $5 super chat from Dylan Lindsay. Thank you so much, Dylan. I appreciate the $5, brother. He says, hello, everyone. Thanks for giving me something to look forward to watching on Sunday. Oh, dude, my pleasure. You kidding me? Got to give Max his statue money. He's gonna need it. Yeah, baby. Another 5. Hey, chipping away at that $1,400, just $5 at a time.
That's right. That's right.
No, thank you so much, Dylan. I greatly appreciate the super chat. These are always so much fun for us to do. So it is our pleasure to give you guys something to watch on Sunday evenings. And to start your week off right as you guys go into Monday and the next work week. So it's always our pleasure. I also like this comment from Shieldwall, and he says you can never point it out what's really going on because that makes you an insert ist or phobe here. And I think that's one of the biggest things about, like I said, a lot of the reviews of the Marvels, a lot of the reviews of the rumors of the casting of Pedro and everything. It's a lot of these people that just want to play it safe and are just saying like, well, it's an interesting choice, or, okay, well, maybe the Marvels wasn't that bad. And it's like, these people don't want to point this stuff out because they feel like
they don't want to lose the access. They don't want to lose the access at all.
Yeah,
That's
they
why.
want the access. Right.
Well, and also when you come out and your only defense of something is to say like, oh well, the people that are attacking this are ists or they're phobes or they're this or they're that. They only you don't have any like logical response to what they're saying about the film. They're saying like, hey, maybe it was a mistake to go so female focused with these two phases. Maybe you've lost a lot of the audience, both male and female. Maybe people have walked away, and their knee jerk reaction is to call you names. That just tells you that they're not interested in putting out an entertaining film. They're interested in an agenda. They're not interested in the property that they're handling. They're interested in inserting this social agenda that they're going after. And I see the film not as an entertainment product for the masses, but as a vehicle for their activism. And that's why the MCU is failing.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. It is sad when you hear people like within these companies saying like, well, this is what we think you need to see. Right? It's like, stop trying to lecture us. Like,
this film is going to save lives, Max. It's going to save lives. Really? Because I thought it was supposed to make me happy while I ate popcorn. I thought that's what it was supposed to do. I didn't know it was so grandiose.
Films are supposed to entertain you, Aaron. What the hell is going on now?
I don't know, man. It's crazy.
That's really bigoted of you to say, Aaron, that they're supposed to entertain people.
I've loved watching the meltdown, though. I didn't. Josh and I talk about this all the time, but the fact that we don't really root for things to fail. No. But when we called it and we see the iceberg coming and then the ship hits the iceberg, we do enjoy a little bit of the, well, I mean, I told you that iceberg was there, and you were just like, shut up, phobe. You're an iceberg phobe, and then you crash right into it. But I've really enjoyed seeing all of the meltdowns over how badly this movie has done, because it reminded me of something very strange that I've never experienced myself, but it's where my personal identity is somehow wrapped up in the success of a movie, and the public rejecting that movie somehow is now a rejection of me and my values, and I'm very depressed about it. I've never had that experience. I've never cared. I've never been like, oh, that movie starring a white guy flopped at the box office. Really bummed out, you guys. Really bummed out.
The only time that I was bummed when a movie flopped was because it was a good movie and I thought more people should have seen it, and it was The Northman, and it only made like 20 million, right, on $100 million budget. It was something bad, and I was like, fuck, man, this is this is so. But it was niche, right? It's got a niche director. It had a kind of a niche concept. Not a lot of people really understood what they were going to go see.
Yeah, and yet, I talked to so many people who just didn't understand. They didn't get it. People saw it, they just didn't understand it. It's like it's a fable. That's what it is. Do you not understand that?
And it's go ahead.
I was gonna say the only film that I think I remember being like really kind of bummed that it failed was Serenity, because they were gonna try to make it a trilogy of films.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh. But
I get getting bummed that like you're like, I would have liked more of this. It would have been nice if it succeeded, so I could get some more. Like Battle Angel Alita, kind of the same thing. Like,
yeah, the other example I would have of this is when Bros fell at the box office, and I was like, man, gosh,
like, oh no, I can't be a gay man anymore. Damn,
it's a rejection. It's a rejection of me.
I hated that movie, by the way. It's awful.
For me, it was Batman vs Superman. I know this could be a hot take. Batman vs Superman for me, because I will defend Ben Affleck as Batman, and I wanted more Ben Affleck as Batman, and but yeah, it is what it is.
I didn't know this about you, Drew.
Yeah, I'm shocked.
Inviting you onto my shows that you like Batman v Superman, and yet you've been on my show for like years now. Oh my god!
I'll give him a pass.
He takes the mask off. It's me, Fatal J.
No, it's me, Kyle.
Yeah. Kyle does have the worst takes on the show. For sure.
I will give Drew a pass because he didn't say Batman v Superman. He said Ben Affleck is Batman. So I will allow it.
No,
allow it.
I'll allow. No, I will allow him to talk great about Ben Affleck Superman or Batman, because I agree. I think Ben Affleck Batman is the closest thing we've gotten to a Batman in live action.
It's the closest costume we have gotten ever from.
I hate that costume so much.
Seriously, really?
It looks like it's put together out of paper mache, and I can't stand it.
I swear. Well, here's the thing. I love the concept behind the costume, because it looks like he's had it for 20 years. It's been constantly like sewn back together from all the cuts and bullet holes and everything about that.
I don't know if you know this, Drew, but he's rich. the idea that he's at home, like, and Alfred's like busting out the needle and thread and like, oh, Mr. Wayne, I got to put these patches on your costume.
I just like that it kind of looks like Kevlar. I don't know. It just feels like more rough, and plus, no one has his presence. The dude's fucking 6'3". Like that's Batman. Like
It's
in my
like,
opinion.
you picture all the Batman on screen. Which one do you not want to come across in an alleyway? Ben Affleck is that one. He's gonna smash my balls. It's not happening. He's gonna frame
my
me.
balls, specifically my balls. He's like, get over here.
Gonna smash your balls. Oh my god.
Yeah, Josh is like, well, Mr. Batman. So yeah, no, I will defend you there, Drew, but I cannot defend you saying anything good about the Batman v Superman film whatsoever. I'm sorry.
No, just Ben Affleck. That was.
I hear the director's cut makes more sense, but I've never been.
It does.
I've
It
never
does.
cared to watch it.
The thing
It's
is,
still problematic.
But at what lengthier cost?
the problem is that the script for the film is so similar to Civil War. You really see how Civil War did it better than BVS.
Well, I also think it's like saying, "Oh, well, you got to watch the Daredevil director's cut," and it's like for me, that's a great thing. Oh, I get to watch the Daredevil Ben Affleck director's cut, but for everyone else, they're like, "Kill me." I would rather watch Elektra at that point.
I bought that the minute it came out. I have the Ben Affleck director's cut for Daredevil.
By the way, Elektra, better second week hold than the Marvels.
Yes.
Then you
Batman
guessed
v
it,
Superman.
the Marvels, yeah.
That's right. That's right. Oh, it's Marvel's is going to be such a meme from now on, and that's really probably the most beautiful thing, is that all of these people that were so snarky about like. Captain Marvel made $1 billion. Obviously, she is popular.
I was gonna say, did you see how the shills were trying to cope with the reality of the Marvel's box office numbers?
It was,
Tell us, Josh.
It was incredible the amount of because they couldn't blame it on one thing, so they pulled out everything.
It's because they couldn't promote it on late night shows.
Yeah,
pulled out everything to give an excuse of why it wasn't doing as well as other Marvel movies, but they were real quick to point out, well, it's the best debut of a film by a Black female director
in November. On that specific day, with the moon in that specific position. Yeah, they always have to. God, Disney's famous for that. They're always like, we'll have the best Thursday of any post-pandemic film that had a Black director and had a Scandinavian best boy.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, it seems like that's probably a very small window of
Very specific.
the best, the best opening.
Well, the funny thing is, like on Twitter, they Marvel Entertainment was posting the trailer for it, and on it was like the Marvels is the best film, the #1 film in America, right? And just a blatant lie, just like an outright lie. But yet they were still promoting it that way. So it is pretty interesting what they will do.
The #1 film in America.
Yeah,
the only film that exists on the planet.
Yeah.
Oh, and apparently, I guess the report has come out, and Marvel spent a ton of money on the promotion for this film. Like we're talking hundreds on the promotion for this film. So this movie needs to make I think they're saying 700 million to break even, or to make profit, and
it's not even going to clear 100 million domestically.
Nope.
Yeah. And because when you think about how much it costs for reshoots, man, and they didn't even disclose, or I think they disclosed how much the reshoots were, but they always go a little bit under. They don't disclose the.
Oh yeah, we don't find out till the following year when the filings come out from Europe.
Yeah.
Of what they're.
I was gonna say, here's the thing too, and this is part of the problem with media in general right now, is they're using reshoots and editing as a way to fix their story problems, as opposed to just writing a good story.
Yeah.
And it's clearly this does not work, so don't do it.
Well, that's what I think the kind of art form, and not to be all artsy fartsy and oh well, when I watch film, but some of the best films that I've watched, yeah, right, is when you have a director who has storyboarded and like visually can see everything that's going to happen, and has a envisionment of how everything looks, how it feels, and it shows in the film. But when you go, kind of point the camera this way, and we can always fix it in post. We'll put a guy here. We'll make it here. Like when you do that,
we'll keep 3 VFX guys from seeing their families for 6 months. It'll be fun.
Yeah. We'll keep them in the dark. We'll feed them every now and then, but that's about all.
You just one of the coolest stories I heard. It was an actor. He was in James Cameron's studio office, and I forget the names. I forget which actor it was, but it was he had every scene storyboarded for Aliens. Every single scene was storyboarded, and it's like holy crap. And apparently James still had all those. I can't begin to imagine what those would go for if he decided to sell those.
Oh, right.
But you know what they'd go for, Drew? They would go for him walking up to a board and writing alien on it, and then adding the S and putting $ signs through it. That's what they would go for.
Yeah, that's what he did. That's exactly what he did. Yeah.
I love it. We have $10 from Mark Loves Angels. Hail to you, Mark, and thank you for the $10, man. That is so kind. He says, look, I'm old. I bought Avengers #1 off the stand.
Ooh, damn.
Ooh.
Nice.
Damn, Mark. That is awesome. Thank you for sharing. He says, so far, this is not my Fantastic Four. And you know what? I don't blame you, dude. I totally understand, and I agree. I think if they go with the casting that they have, been rumored right now, it's not going to end well. So I agree with you here. I also wanted to say, what was I gonna? Avengers #1 off the stand. So far, there's not my Fantastic Four. Shoot, I was gonna say something else, but I'm blanking. But anyway, thank you again, Mark, for the $10. I greatly appreciate it.
Let me throw this out there.
Yeah, go.
Fantastic Four movie. We're gonna go with Josh's Glenn Howerton casting for Mr. Fantastic. Keep Vanessa Kirby. Human Torch literally doesn't matter. And the Thing. Let's. How about that dude that plays Jack Reacher as Ben Grimm?
Ooh.
Alan Richardson.
Yeah, Alan or Richardson. He played Raphael in the great Michael Bay Ninja Turtles. But and if you ever get a chance to go watch some interviews with him about that, please do. But cast him as Ben Grimm, and then have Brad Bird write and direct it, since he's the only guy who has made decent Fantastic Four movies in his career, and they were called The Incredibles.
Oh yeah.
How about the guy who wrote The Iron Giant? Brad Bird. Iron Giant. One of the best Superman movies. The Iron Giant is a Superman movie. How about that guy? Yeah, how about that guy doing a big Marvel film? How about it? Like somebody who's actually talented and can deliver heart and make you care about things and invest you in the characters. How about we do that instead of going like, now I understand Kevin Feige, he is a white guy, but he does have a body of work that shows that he can do the job. You're not just plucking him off of some documentary because of his genitalia and his, ethnicity, and handing him a, several hundreds of millions of dollars that you can just fix in post.
Oh, yeah.
Not my FF.
Not my FF. Josh, were you gonna say something as well about the casting?
I was just gonna say the one thing I would disagree with Aaron on there is I think if you were gonna get any sort of name value at all, put it in Johnny Storm.
Ooh, interesting. Okay.
No, I think Josh is right. I said doesn't matter because I didn't have anybody that immediately sprang to mind. But when Johnny's done right, he's very entertaining. Like Chris Evans was great as Johnny Storm.
Yes, he was.
He was a fun. He was the highlight of those movies.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's where you can have your fun, right? Like, I think each character can have a little bit of comic relief to them, but Johnny will be your main, like, laugh track, if you want to call him that, right? Like, he's not going to be your joke character, but he is going to have a lot of he's going to have a lot of fun. He's this young kid. He's a hothead. He's going to be making jokes about Ben. He's going to be giving Ben a hard time. Like, yeah.
He's going to be cocky. He's going to be the media darling, out of the group, like that's
vain. You got
to find somebody with a lot of charisma who's good looking.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, say what you will about the Tim Story films, they were not great for the most part, but I did enjoy the stuff between Johnny and Ben. That stuff was great. Like seeing him do like the whipped cream on his face with the stick and trying to get him to whack himself, and just like, yeah, that's great. That's John. I love it.
Do you guys think that if they did like a Fantastic Four that was like kind of schlocky, would you be okay with it? Because like, how accurate to the books could it be? You know what I mean?
Yeah, give me an example of what you're when you say schlocky, what are you thinking?
Somewhere in between, like what was the Fantastic Four film we got way back in the 80s?
Oh, the Roger Corman?
The Roger Corman film, somewhere between there and like now films. So like
that was so earnest though. Like that one was a very earnest, kind of, and everybody was trying, so like there's a charm to it.
Yeah, like Mr. Fantastic he goes to reach for Sue when she's falling, and he just reaches his hand real close to the camera, and it's like, it's like oh, no.
I like the big wavy arm at the end, at the top of the limo, just like we're just clearly just on a stick, and they're just going like this.
That needs to be our outro as well.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. I would say no. I think they need to nail this movie and have it like be impactful. I think any bit of schlock is going to automatically just.
They're gonna race swap it like they're gonna do the X-Men. They're gonna race and sexuality and gender swap it, and it's not gonna be the Fantastic Four, and it's not gonna make as much money as they want. And they're already under the gun because it already kind of doesn't work because they're the first family of Marvel. What? Josh is losing his shit. What?
Because I put in the comments, Chris Evans with whipped cream was a different movie, and then Drew was like, "Damn it, Josh!"
I didn't even see that.
That was not another teen movie, which he was also fantastic in, and fantastic in Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Yeah. It's like he's great in The Losers. But yeah, it's they've got to nail it, and I just don't think that I don't know. I don't have the faith anymore. Unless they come in and they hand it over to somebody else completely, and we're not going to get the Fantastic Four that we all want. It's like, do it right at least once before you start playing with the formula. And they're already kind of like under the gun because they always try to make Fantastic Four a superhero movie too, which I think is a mistake. I think you make it a movie about explorers that have superhuman powers. And that's kind of what makes the film a little bit different, makes it a little more interesting, and then you can tie it into the larger world. But if they start out and they're just like, they're a superhero team, just like the Avengers, and it's not going to work.
I do think you need to focus more on the characters in this. Like the characters of the family are what sell. I feel like, at least that's what I feel like die-hard Fantastic Four fans love about the film, not the film, the books. And I also think it's the family dynamic, how they interact with each other. So really, it's a film about family.
That's what makes it so powerful.
That's what makes it so powerful. But
like the Last Jedi.
Yeah, I really do think it should be first and foremost a film about family. Like as cheesy as that sounds, like I do think that should be its kind of its backbone.
So you're saying Vin Diesel is the thing then?
Yeah.
Because you can't have a movie about family and without not have Vin Diesel in it.
Yeah. And we all know that what movie, his Bloodshot movie, did better than the Marvels. So that's
less of a second week drop percentage wise.
Yeah, look at that. So yeah, no. All that being said, I agree with a lot of the sentiments here. I think Fantastic Four needs to come back. If it does come back, it needs to come back with a punch. And I think it does need to take itself seriously. I don't think we're in an age of slocking. If schlockiness will do very well, and it definitely can't go into levels of humor, quote unquote humor, as Taika Waititi did with Thor: Love and Thunder. It needs to take itself seriously, and it needs to actually care about the characters in the books. And I'm like, I've said this stuff 40,000 times now, and I feel like a broken record, but I have to say it. I just focus on the characters, focus on the books. You have a passion for this and take itself seriously, and I think it'll be a good product. I don't know. I feel like I can't say anything else because I feel like a broken record, but oh well.
It doesn't seem like it should be that complicated.
You would, yeah, you would think, right? You would think. Oh well. We do have Ideator for $5. Thank you, Ideator, for the $5. Greatly appreciate it. He says superhero movies will be reinvigorated after Deadpool 3. The Marvels had its problems, but didn't deserve a 10 million second weekend. Art needs to be art again. Ideator,
I disagree. I think it deserved exactly what it got.
I agree with you, Aaron. I agree with Ideator when he says art needs to be art and not content, right? Because I think we've talked about this before, how art and entertainment has now just become content to consume as opposed to art to enjoy and to be entertained by. However, I disagree that I don't think superhero movies will be reinvigorated with Deadpool 3. If anything, Deadpool 3 makes fun of the superhero trope, right? So it's only going to dig it deeper into the ground because it's going to make fun of all the shit that's happened before. And people are going to be like, yeah,
just the sheer fact we're going to get Hugh Jackman in the Wolverine costume versus Deadpool, that's going to bring people into the theaters. I guarantee it. That's going to make it $750 million, if not $1 billion, just for that.
For sure. It'll put butts in the seats. Hugh Jackman will put butts in the seats, especially with the Wolverine outfit. But in terms of reinvigorating the genre again, I don't think Deadpool has that kind of power, right?
No.
And I don't like. Maybe I'm the odd man out here, but I don't care about the Deadpool movies at all. At all. I enjoyed the first one well enough. I thought the second one was way over the top. There's some really great bits in it that I really enjoy, but overall, I've never felt the need to go back and watch it again. And I'm not excited for this third one. I like Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. I think he's great casting. I think Hugh Jackman is a lot of fun as Wolverine, even if he's too tall. And I will always die on that hill just for Doc alone. You know, like I got your back, Doc. I got your back. That's always been a sticking point with Doc, and I understand it. But I think they're going to put in a bunch of stupid shit. You're going to have Taylor Swift as Dazzler, maybe just dumb shit like that. That's going to make me roll my eyes. And I'm over it. I'm over it. Like it's one thing to make fun of this stuff when it's really strong and relevant.
Mm-hmm.
But by the time Deadpool 3 comes out, we're going to have had a year of superhero disasters. We still got Aquaman on the horizon. That's still coming. We still got to slog through that. And so by the time Deadpool 3 hits, I think it's just going to seem like it's just kicking a dead horse.
Yeah. And I mean, I still think Aquaman might do okay because it's got Jason Momoa and it will have a larger female audience. But I mean, yeah, what Blue Beetle did, what was the last? Not Marvels, but Blue Beetle,
The Flash.
Thank you. Flash did, and then the Marvels.
Weekend in the Marvels.
yeah, that it did. The other one that I keep forgetting too is Joker, and I loved the first Joker film, and I know a lot of people kind of had mixed feelings because it is so dark and it really is hard to watch at times. But I mean, that film made $1 billion, and that wasn't a classic superhero film, right? So we'll see how Joker does. That was an art piece, if you want to call it, anything an art piece. Zach says he is too tall, and Shield Wolf says Deadpool 3 will bomb if it has anything to do with that annoying fat kid in it again.
Oh my, yeah, that was awful.
Terrible.
Taika Waititi's move from the Wilder people. I was like, yeah, when I see Rusty Collins, and by the way, another redhead just replaced, with somebody not a redhead, Rusty Collins, Fire Fist. And yeah, no, for me, the Deadpool stuff, like the reason it doesn't work is because it was R-rated for the violence, and then they were like, well, now we can just make all kinds of dick jokes. And so to me, it's not Deadpool. It's not like the Deadpool comic, because the Deadpool comic didn't have that because it wasn't R-rated. There's you had to get away with more stuff. So, there's some stuff in it that's funny, but like after a while, it just wore on me. Even Logan wore on me, where it was like, we can say the F word as many times as we want. We can drop the F-bomb. And so all of a sudden this character who, you haven't been doing that up until now. And when they had Xavier do it, yeah, I get it. He's supposed to have Alzheimer's and everything. But when they had Xavier start, dropping F-bombs, I was like, you lost me.
I think I'll also say with Deadpool, like he became so commonplace to where everyone was like, oh, we got to put Deadpool in everything. So like comic books, just every single god dang comic book from Marvel had Deadpool in it. And it's like, oh, the Merc with the mouth. He's going to make some dumb joke. And it's like, only good, sarcastic, funny writers who know comedy can write Deadpool. You can't just get some Joe Schmo out here writing Deadpool who thinks he's, sarcastic and funny. You actually have to have someone who's talented in comedy, especially when you're writing a comic book, because comedy doesn't transfer as well with comics as it does for films. So it's like he oversaturated the market, and at this point, I'm just like, enough with the Deadpool. I'm done.
Yeah, they really overdid it, and it kind of bothers me when I have little kids coming in and being like, "Do you have any Deadpool stuff? Do you have any Deadpool stuff? And like their parents are like, "Oh, they love the Deadpool movies," and I'm like, "Kid is 5. What are you doing?"
You let him see the Deadpool film?
Now, not everybody is Jim from Weird Science, whose wife is like, "I want you out of the house. I want the kids out of the house. Take them to see that superhero movie." And he's like, "Okay." He took them and was like, "Oh, oh my God."
They're throwing printers at his head, and he's like, "Oh my God, I just had to dodge a printer." He just didn't watch the last Aficionado show. Yeah, he's got a wild life. I'd love to watch just a sitcom of his family, but
yeah.
This will get you banned, Nadia. I do not. I vehemently disagree with this take. I love you, but I really like Ryan. I think he's good. And honestly, I think he could have been a good Green Lantern too. I think he would have been a good Hal, right? But
I will say part of the problem with Ryan Reynolds right now is that everyone is writing Ryan Reynolds as Ryan Reynolds.
Yes, that's a good point. That's a really good point.
So
they're even writing people who aren't Ryan Reynolds. They're writing them as Ryan Reynolds, but
my dream casting for Hal Jordan would have been Dennis Quaid circa Inner Space, like 1988, 89. Because if you watch Inner Space, that swagger he had, how he was that character, like that's Hal Jordan. And I wish we could have gotten a younger Dennis Quaid as Hal Jordan.
Dennis Quaid.
That would have been good.
He's got that Riz. He's a Riz Lord.
Watch Inner Space and tell me that's not Hal Jordan.
Do you think now? Let me ask you, since you brought that up, Max, with Dennis Quaid being a Riz Lord, do you think he could best Baby Gronk in a 1v1 to become the new Riz King? What do you think?
Baby Gronk. Riz Lord is such a funny meme that's been coming out recently. It's for people who don't know, Riz is short for charisma, and I learned this from a Gen Zer the other day at one of my classes, and I was like, "That's what Riz means," and they're like, "Yeah, you got charisma." And I'm like,
just
"Okay." Yeah. So
charisma's too long.
Who wants to sound intellectual and say, "Hey, you have a lot of charisma," when you could say, "No cap, fam, you got a lot of Riz, you Riz Lord." I heard words, but I did not understand what you just said.
And one of my favorite things is to send Max these bits from this Instagram account where it's like the Gen Z Bible. And so it's like they basically take Bible scripture and they rework it into like the TikTok vernacular. So, instead of like, "Verily I say unto you," it'd be like, and then Jesus said, "No cap, fam." It's like, but it works. Like if you look at the original text, you go, "Yeah, no, it still has its meaning." It's just really dumbed down.
What's happened now is like we went from having the Bible being written in Hebrew, and then they translated it from into the Septuagint, which was the Greek translation. And then I think it was Greek to Latin, and then Latin to all the other different, languages. But English is, what came from those different translations. But now in 2023, we're going to get dumbed down English, and we're going to get Zoomer English. So it's going to be like, Hebrew and Greek and Latin, and now Riz speak. So that'll be an interesting translation of the Bible. But
now you'll go to church and it'll be like, okay, log into your TikTok accounts. Today we're going to be talking about Joseph and his amazing Technicolor bus and drip. So if everybody could
drip. Yeah, it would be funny. I was thinking about this the other day. Whenever, I know we've still got some time, but April, I want to do like an April 1st kind of like a joke Max's Man Cave maybe, or like maybe an opposite day. And I want us to praise all the like shit that's been coming out, but we need like a Zoomer Riz kid Lord, like we need a kid or we need like a guy who can have the like stupid broccoli fucking mop thing in the front of his head and talking about how much he loves the Marvels. And then Josh, I mean, you know what role you're gonna play. You'll play the sassy gay guy from LA.
Stop it. Like, I don't even have to try, okay? Seriously.
I was gonna go out for that role.
Oh, Aaron, you had a great performance, but Josh just brought more. Well, he secretly, we saw each other after the audition, so that's pretty much why we got the role.
I'd have killed for that. I'd have killed for that role. It's like Ron Livingston in Slingers, where at first he's like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't want to be at Disneyland playing Goofy. And then like later they're like, hey, how did you ever get that Goofy job? And he's like, oh no, they went with an actor with more theme park experience. And all of a sudden he's all depressed and he's like, I've killed for that role. He's just like all upset.
Here we go. Yeah, Nadi brings up a good point. You could be a bear.
No, that's true. That's true. I've actually been mistaken for a bear many times.
Really? Okay.
I've been hit on by a lot of gay guys. Gay guys are way more interested in me than women are. I get way more attention from gay dudes than I do from women.
Yeah. Still can't make you switch teams though, eh?
I mean, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Maybe if somebody who's like a Riz King. I'm like, where I'm like, I'm not gay, but I could be that Riz King gay.
Yeah, there you go. I think I think it takes a man who is very confident in his own masculinity and sexuality to like look at a man and be like, that's a good looking man right there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you're a handsome man. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
No.
Too bad. You guys have all the riz and the charisma and the handsomeness. I'm nothing. You aren't missing much, Aaron, says Nadia.
No, both Max and I are single men in California, and the pickings are slim.
This is true. That's all right. We'll find our female Riz queen one of these days, hopefully. So, and it's definitely not Mags, even though we didn't get to her this evening. It's like, you know what? I think we probably talked about Mags for the past like 4 weeks. I was like, the summer of Mags, we can talk about it another night. But.
I thought it was the whole year. I thought it was going to be the whole year of Mags.
Oh yeah, this is the year of Mags. This is the year of Mags. That's right. I was thinking of the summer of George from Seinfeld. Summer of George.
The summer of George was more impressive.
Yeah, right. What's up, Jesse? It's Jesse Blaze. Hail chat. Hail my loved ones above. Dude, we missed you.
What's up, Jesse?
You're doing well. Love you, brother. And hope the travel has been easy on you. I know it's not easy going back and forth, but we miss you, and we'd love to have you on whenever you're settled back in wherever you're at next. So no, this will never happen. Sorry, Nadia. Going on the whatever podcast is a death sentence. I can't even watch the clips.
What would we do on there? Like, what would our part be on there? Like, we're not.
But usually the guys are the ones that are based. They're the ones that are like, no, you're an awful human being because you're doing this, woman.
Sure. Well, we could do that. I mean, I would just be sad. Like, it's like, okay, so I've only ever been to one strip club in my life. And it was when I was working at Tokyo Pop. Mark Panizia, who's an editor at Marvel now, it was his bachelor party, and we were like, the plan was we were going to go out, we were going to get some drinks, and we were going to go to the Dresden and watch that really old couple play. They're in Swingers if you need reference, but they'd been there. They were like an institution, and we were just going to hang out. But then everybody got drunk, and all of a sudden somebody's like, "Let's go to Jumbo's Clown Room." And I'm like, what the hell is Jumbo's Clown Room? Yeah, that's what it's called. And so they're like, so everybody's like, yeah. And so I get taken to this place called Jumbo's Clown Room, which I'm already dreading because clowns. But it's a strip club in LA, and all around the bar they've got all these like clown dolls, and it's horrifying. But so we go walking in, and it's a strip club, and I walked in, and I looked at the girls on the stage, and I felt sad. And then I looked at the guys that were sitting there watching them, And for those in the chat who've never been to a strip club, you know, when you see like women in movies and they're going to a strip club and they're like, woohoo, and they're shouting and they're yelling and they're, you know, whipping their, you know, their jacket around and they're having a good time. It's a celebration of being out together, right?
Yeah.
Men in a strip club are like lions watching a herd of gazelle. Like the type of guys that are in a strip club are just there like,
yeah.
And it's like I felt bad for the girls on stage. I felt bad for these horrible men. You know, like I felt bad for everybody. And I ended up spending most of the evening sitting outside, and the strippers were coming out for their smoke break. And so I ended up talking to strippers all night. I became like their therapist for the night.
Oh my god!
And it was just this really sad experience. Yeah, it was just awful. And I can't now. Anytime I see somebody who's like, yeah, I'm on OnlyFans or I'm a stripper or whatever. Like I just feel sad inside because I'm like, oh, I talked to so many of those girls. What family member molested you and put you up on the pole? You know, that's just the way that like it just feels great. You know, it's like, oh, you know, these broken people who've been victimized and you know, I'm sure, you know, look, I'm sure there's like a small percentage that are like, nah, I'm just putting myself through medical school and this is good money. You know, I'm sure there's a percentage of that, but mostly, you know, a lot of these women are really broken and you know, in a lot of pain inside and don't have very good lives. So it's very sad to me.
It comes from a lot of trauma and manipulation and you know, people taking advantage of that, or women thinking that they're gonna, you know, be empowered by that, right? But yeah, it is sad. I think that's why I've never gone. I've never been to one. It doesn't really appeal to me. And a lot of my friends that have gone, they're just like, yeah, you're not missing much. But
Nadia's message. I've been in an opening of a strip club. 8 p.m. strippers aren't 11 p.m. strippers. It reminds me of there's a bit on The Office where it's like Monday at like 9 a.m. and they're sitting in the car with Daryl and like they're like, oh, there's a strip club over there. And Daryl's like, look, I got nothing against strippers, all right? But the 8 a.m. shift on a Monday, or like the 9 a.m. shift on a Monday, that's the skank shift. For some reason, that struck me as really funny.
Dude, imagine like a Tuesday afternoon. Like, what is happening right now? Yeah. No, that would be that'd be pretty sad.
A stripper with a fresh bullet wound asks you to hold her baby while she goes up on stage.
with a lit cigarette in her mouth, and, like,
and the baby has one too. Baby's diaper says juicy.
Hey.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, no, I'm kidding.
That's where I dragged everything. I dragged everything down, made the chat sad.
No. It's all in good fun. I think honestly, if there was someone who came on that she's like, I'm a stripper, she'd probably be like, yeah, you're pretty accurate. So, oh well. But yeah, well, anyway, we will have to do that stream though, where we do something fun, where we do kind of an opposite day, where we don't tell anyone. We'll just act like it's a normal stream, and we'll just come on here and we'll be like, all right, guys, so what's the best comic of the week? And we'll be like, Wonder Woman #1 by Tom King. And we'll just like go after and just play the bit for the hour.
You got to commit to the bit,
here.
yeah.
Well, we would have to be Disney cast members, right? You cannot break character. So I think it'd be pretty interesting. We could see how it works, but yeah, it would definitely have to be acting.
All right, well, we got a little bit of time. We got a little bit of time to get our improv skills sharpened.
Yeah. Write kind of a rough draft script, some things we want to like topics we want to mention. That'd be too fun.
Gay
Joe
Green
Carallo.
Lantern, more like Slay Green Lantern.
Joe Carallo and I did just like an impromptu bit once where we were doing like a very Gen Z politically correct Dungeons and Dragons session.
Oh.
And I saved it somewhere because I was like, we wrote some comedy gold. I was like, this should be a whole skit.
Yeah. You know what's funny? Josh is like the Slay Queen thing. I saw some I think it was like an Instagram post or something, but someone said that the male equivalent of Slay Queen is Let's Go. And I was like, that's so fucking accurate.
That's fair.
It's so perfect. Because every time you hear like a girl go, woo, Slay, that's the guy's version of, woo, let's go. Right? it's like every guy who watches it's the Soups guy who watches the Marvel
Yeah.
previews, and he's like, "Yeah, let's go, bro." And it's like that's the same exact thing as Slay Queen. Too funny, but I didn't know if it was just me, but I was like, no, that's so accurate. I feel
It's
like that's
like you said it, and I was like, holy shit, it's right.
right.
And
I feel I
I'm-
was like,
I was
Yeah.
gonna say I may or may not have posted a very quick clip of me saying "Let's go." I think like a week ago. On
no,
Twitter.
no. You were like, let's eat or something. It was like something to that.
Maybe it's
effect.
like let's do this. I'll have to look it up. I can't remember now.
That should be your outro though for your pop by popped. So
We'll get to now. We should do like I don't know, something like now we feast.
yeah. Dylan, I can't deny acting is a lot of fun. I did acting in high school and college, and I haven't gotten a chance to pick it up since then. But yeah, no, acting is it's a great. I truly think it's an art, and if you're good at it, fuck man, it's really great to watch a good actor. So.
I don't understand people who aren't good at it.
What do you
Like
mean?
at least like when you see somebody and their acting is terrible, and you're like, how is this even possible? Just pretend. Just pretend. Just do a bit. Like,
Yeah,
does nobody like? I mean, I guess that there's just people who like in their regular lives don't do bits or don't do voices or don't do any of the stuff that like we just do like kind of naturally when we hang out. You know, we dip in and out of character. It's just kind of like our personality, and you know, so there's like people that are phenomenal actors, but I feel like everybody that I know is pretty good. And then you see somebody on screen, you know, and you're like, oh my god. How are you so bad at this? It's how can you not human in the slightest?
Yeah. I think for the most part, you have to, at least the people that I've seen that aren't very good actors, and I'm not saying I'm a good actor whatsoever, but I'm saying the ones that are just like, oh, this is objectively awful. They can't express that emotion, right? Or they feel like they're timid. And you can't be timid when you're acting. I feel like you really have to be a performer, and that's really tough for people to do because they're like they can't get to that emotional level. It's like the kid who played Simba in The Lion King, like little Simba in the Lion King animated, like Jon Favreau version that is awful. It's one of the worst animated films ever. You could tell that John, like behind the scenes, was like, okay, your father has literally just died. Show me some emotion, right? And this kid just can't get there. He's like, no.
Oh, the CG couldn't get there either. That was the other problem.
True. So they matched perfectly. The acting and the CG were just, yeah. So it's like stuff like that where I don't think these individuals they're too timid and they can't get there emotionally. But yeah, no, you're right. I mean, I guess it's fun to do these little characters.
We're all extroverts, though. Yeah, I mean, we're all kind of extroverts. So, you know, I guess it makes sense. If you're an introvert, I can understand how you wouldn't necessarily have that skill. But yeah, it's always baffling to me when people can't, you know, just can't even come across as human in their acting.
Right, where it's very wooden and very like robotic, and they're just like reading something. Yeah, I could see that, but oh,
I'll tell you what, chat. Give me some material. Like, just write me some bits next week that you want me to convincingly portray, and I'll see if I can pull it off.
Well, we are going to probably sign off for the evening because I've kept these gentlemen here too long. It's already past 2 hours, but I do want to share this with everyone. Remember, you have 10 days to go on this campaign. Let's see if we can maybe hit 6K. I know Drew's goal is 9K to get us to issue number 2. But yeah, I think we could probably get to 6 before the end of the 10 days. So I mean, but hey, 9.
I'm hoping for that last big push at the end. You know, where people are jumping in. We should probably do a stream where we cover that. You know, last night the final. Yeah. We'll play the final countdown. You know, the final countdown. Demonetized. You know why? Because we all sounded so perfect. We were so on it. Right. the algorithm can't tell the difference.
Yeah,
Riz Kings all around.
Yeah. Tons of Riz here. We all are Riz lords.
You were just rizzing all over the place. I probably could have phrased that better.
Risen on everyone's faces. So yeah, go back Unholy Nightmare if you haven't already. We still got 10 days to go, like I said. So that initial push at the end there, the last like 24 hours or like 48 hours, hopefully we can get a massive amount of income there. Because yeah, we want to see this thing get to issue 2, especially because we know that this is going to be a great project that's been in the works for a while and that is extremely passionate, brought to you by artists who truly care about the medium. So I hold in that Riz. You can't. Riz Lords can't hold in the Riz. I'm sorry. It just emanates off of us. So, but yeah, you guys have any last words before we dip out?
I'm gonna go eat.
I'm hungry. I will say, if we don't see you next week, because if Max, I'm debating whether or not we're going to have Max's Man Cave next Sunday, just due to the holiday. I figure people are going to be out of town; they're going to be with their families. So I'm thinking, you know what? Maybe we'll take the weekend off. So if I don't see you guys then, enjoy your Thanksgiving. Eat a ton. Be grateful. Be thankful for the things that you have, and enjoy your family wherever you are, even if it's just by yourself. Enjoy the food that you have, and just make a list of things that you're grateful for or thankful for. It goes a long way, even if it's just little things like, hey, I'm happy that I've got a pet, or hey, I'm happy that I was able to pay my rent this week, or this month. Stuff like that. It goes a long way, and I guarantee you, it's a life changer. So, but yeah, now not to be all sentimental, but
I'm thankful for you guys right here.
Me too.
Everybody in the chat, everybody here on the panel. Josh, are we doing Pop by Culture on Tuesday?
Yes, we are.
All right.
Oh, you are. Oh, great. Well, then, yeah, chat. Please go check out Josh on Tuesday for Pop by Culture. So if you guys are still in town and you want a show to watch on Tuesday, let's go. Let's go.
Let's go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go watch Josh's show. On Tuesday.
Come watch my show.
See, acting.
Good night, everybody. Push the button, Frank.
Yeah. Take care, guys. We'll see you on Tuesday night for Pop by Culture, and enjoy your Thanksgiving. Bye.